Hey, everybody, welcome back to the ChatGTM podcast. I'm your host, Michael Beck. With me, as always, is Mr. Chad Horn. We are here today on a very special episode. In fact, this is season 2, episode 2 of the ChatGTM podcast. And today's guest is Mr. Joseph Szala, someone who spent years inside of restaurant brands watching how smart ideas quietly turn into complicated problems. He's the author of Quiet Killers. That's why we're here today. And if that title feels slightly uncomfortable and familiar, that's kind of the point, right? Joseph has written several books over the years, including The Bullhearted Brand, Mass Behaving, Fire It Up, and this is one of my favorite, Stop Blasting My Mama, all of which explore branding, behavior, and why restaurants so often trip over themselves while doing things that sound perfectly reasonable. What Joseph sets apart is that he doesn't deal in hyper hacks. He looks at patterns, systems, and subtle decisions that make brands feel heavier, busier, and harder to run over time. And when things look fine on paper, if you've ever felt like everything is technically working, but somehow not working the way it should, this conversation is going to land. And I'm excited to have him here. Joseph, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, man. It's awesome to be here.
I could read. Look at that. That was my first teleprompter, everybody.
You did it well.
How you doing today, Chad?
I'm great. This is a good day. I got to take care of a dental issue earlier, and it was holidays. Man, you can't get seen. So
That's
I
right.
finally was able to get seen, taken care of. So I'm very happy right now.
Good. You know what I love about this is and Joseph called out when we first hopped on, we have a very colorful mix of people with very colorful backgrounds behind all of us. I have a feeling we're all slightly different, and that makes me feel it's going to be a good session. So, Joseph, you ready to dig in and start talking about this book, Quiet Killers?
I am ready to not be quiet.
Okay, and we're going to kill it. So,
Yeah.
All right, I'm way too punny today. All right, so let's kind of just cannonball in here. So, first off, let's talk about how you got here, right? You've spent years inside of restaurant brands watching the same problems repeat. At what point did you realize this wasn't bad luck, it was a pattern?
Yeah, I think it starts to happen after like the number 3. 3 is the magic number,
Yeah.
right? So, I think I want to level set that I usually write from a place of frustration. Maybe that's the mother of all
That's
invention.
why I call Facebook.
That's right. Just pounding the keyboard. But that's usually where it starts. And in the frustration, I was really reflecting on this over the holiday. And it's, am I innately a negative person? And it's actually quite the opposite. I get frustrated because I am a mix of idealist and realist. And when I see ideals get sniped by poor actions, knowingly or unknowingly, it actually hurts me because the clients that I've worked with in the past, the clients that I work with today, and those that I will work with in the future, the reason why we're good at what we do is because we just see what it can be. And we get really excited about that and we get in it. And that's why we never submit anything to awards, ceremonies, or anything like that. Because quite honestly, I don't care about cheap plastic and giving a speech about it. I want to see these brands excel. So when something gets in the way, I'm hurt.
Right.
So when it starts to happen over and over again, I start to ask, first, is it me? That's always the first question. Like maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's something I did.
Right.
And once we get past that and any learnings that come from that question, it jumps into, well, then what are those patterns? What is causing this? And from there, you can start to solution and figure out pathways ahead.
So you said what we help with, and what I imagine you're talking about 3L, your agency, right?
Yeah, 3L, and even prior to me hopping on here, I founded a restaurant branding agency, built it, sold it. And so the problems that I call out in the Quiet Killers also existed there. So at 3L, we build digital products and platforms for restaurant brands, multi-unit restaurant brands. So we're integrating commerce, loyalty, CRMs, list goes on, to create a unified system and thereby see increases in sales, sentiment, ROAS, the list goes on. But before that, it was in brand development and rebranding. And, it's rampant there as well, from marketing to brand strategy and all of that, these 4 killers.
Chad?
So Joseph, you're calling the book Quiet Killers. So I'm curious, like, what kind of death have you experienced? Like, what's dying?
Yeah. First, potential success. Potential is killed right off the bat, or optimal potential, maximum potential, whatever you want to call it. That's number 1. 2, it's a deterioration of mitigated smart risk. With mitigated smart risk, you have the opportunity to slingshot ahead, or at least further ahead of your category. These quiet killers impede that, kill it, keeps you locked into safe, which, safe and mediocre never really go very far. So those are the two ones. But then interpersonal relationships within organizations, you start to see people become more and more encamped, more and more protective, turtling up because they don't want to stick their neck out because they're viably worried that they're going to get their neck chopped by either a peer, a subordinate, or leadership. These things all rot things inside out. And for leaders, it's actually oftentimes hard to get your finger on what it is that's happening, but something's happening.
Right.
And it's really hard to point it out.
So thinking about that, right, and the core idea of quiet killers in the wild, right? You talk about brands being sabotaged by ideas that sound smart, and I think this is something that everybody's really hitting really hard right now with the advent of AI. I think more than ever, we have a lot of great ideas that sound very smart. What's the most convincing bad idea you've seen leaders fall in love with?
Ooh, that's such a great question. I don't know if it's a specific idea. It's actually what you just said happens often. And it's not a specific thing, it's more a category.
Mhm.
AI. Oh, we gotta have AI. We gotta do AI stuff.
Yeah.
What's that mean? I don't know, but we gotta do it. Everyone's doing it. So we have to.
I have this mental picture of George W. popping his head off, like, "Hey, I need a hot cup of AI. Anybody got some?" And no clue what it's for.
No, I just know I need it.
Yeah.
I unfortunately reference, I'm not a big South Park aficionado, but back when it first started, there was an episode with underpants gnomes is what they were called. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
I know, I hear them singing in my head right now.
Exactly, yeah. And so like when they finally caught their ass, like, why are you stealing our underpants? And they bring out a chart and it says step 1, steal underpants. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, profit. And I feel like
modern business right there.
On that. Yeah. It's like, well, what's number 2? You're like, I don't know, but profit comes next. So get AI, question mark.
Problem solved.
It's profit.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's usually the category. When the pandemic hit, a lot of brands got caught not caring about online ordering or delivery because no one's going to have their hamburger delivered, quote unquote. And then the pandemic's like, guess what?
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Hold my beer, bring my burger.
Yeah.
For sure. And so you see it happening often. There's, something happens, it's proven, quote unquote, to be successful, or at least perceptually. And then the underpants gnomes come. They got to do it. They got to get it done because board asked about it. Leadership asked about it. It's the buzziest thing right now. And, on the other side of it, here's someone, I don't want my neck to be out there. I'm afraid it's going to get chopped. So I better have an answer for the AI question.
So Joseph, someone might say AI is useful. There are brands that have had great success with it and online ordering, all these things that can be that, what you're describing. But what is it that makes a potentially good idea in what you're talking about, which is a bad idea in that context?
Yeah, I think jumping out, behind or ahead of the quiet killers is the solution, which is purposefully simple in delivery, but sometimes complex to find, and that is clarity. And so in this case, no matter what you're trying to do, there needs to be, I would say, unanimous or near unanimous clarity on why you're doing it, what are the expected results, and what are the requirements, whether it's software, hiring, new menu items, all of this. The problem is a lot of times things get so siloed, and that's actually the fourth quiet killer, is siloed and encamped teams with a healthy dash of tech anemia is what I'm calling it, where if it's tech, IT takes care of it. Well, geez, that's kind of messed up because ops has to use it, marketing has to promote it and use it, leadership's asking about it.
Yeah.
And if you just relegate it to like one department, or even worse, a person or like a couple people in that department, then what you have is a siloed, encamped group of people. So everyone knows that you're doing something with, let's say, online ordering, everyone knows you're doing something,
Yeah.
but no one knows why. So what happens is you get the thing, and you usually go and fall into the third quiet killer, which is the convenience trap. And it's like, well, that's easy. I can get that going within a couple of weeks. That monkey's off my back, so I can go focus on something else. And before you get to the convenience trap, when you start evaluating, you're usually adhering to, whether you realize it or not, the bias loop, which is confirmation bias mixed with survivorship bias. And so, how do you select the potential partners or the potential thing? Well, go look at what the big guys are doing.
Ew.
Start there. And
Yeah.
then when you do your evaluations, you kind of already start to, from your gut, like one of the people or partners, and then the confirmation bias comes into play, where you only look at the data that confirms that particular solution. It's easy. Let's hop in, monkey off my back, my neck's not out there, and we're good.
Right.
But you're not.
Wow. Thinking about that, the marketing funnel, it really took a beating.
What marketing funnel?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but it took a beating in this book. So why does that model refuse to die? And even though it clearly doesn't match how people order food.
Yeah, order anything,
Yeah.
not just food, but yeah.
Yeah.
So a quick little tangent. This started as a rewrite of Stop Blasting My Mama. And Stop Blasting My Mama, the name came from frustration again, where I still hear marketers use the term e-blast.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I am not sitting around waiting to be blasted by a brand.
Unless you're Dick Cheney shooting somebody in the face back in the day.
That's not right. No one wants it. My mom don't want it.
Yeah.
And I think when you start with the mentality, the blast mentality, you are already losing, because that's not the way you develop relationships. And marketing today, a lot of people outside of marketing don't want to hear this. Marketing is not about selling. It's about getting people to buy. And there is a difference. We are, as people, as humans, we are very good at smelling a sale and a sales technique, and we are very adverse to it. And there's rampant distrust for corporations who have oversold, underdelivered for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. Do we need to bring up the McRib solution right now that's happening on the side? I don't know if you guys know about that. Turns out the McRib doesn't have McRib in it at all.
Oh.
It's like,
I could have told you that 10 years ago without just, yeah.
Most of us could have, but when you call it the McRib and you promote it as
and you form it to look like a rib,
there's a problem. So they're getting sued. So there's a lot of distrust. And so from there, I started rewriting Stop Blasting My Mama as a marketing book. But then what I realized is, well, we really don't need another marketing book. What we really need is to understand the problems that cause bigger problems down the road. And that problem starts with the marketing funnel. So the marketing funnel itself is derived from a theory that's a sales theory, not a marketing theory.
Yeah.
It's the ADA model.
Funnel is sales. I mean, that is a sales term.
100.
Yeah.
And marketers took it, they edited it a little bit and made it into a beautiful framework. So I presume when a board member or a non-marketing leader asks, well, how do we know this is going to work? That's my gruff leader voice. Well, we have this model, you see, and we're going to move people from uninterested and unaware to aware, and then interested, and then they're going to sell, or they're going to buy, and then they're going to become loyal. And we're going to hit all these points along the way, except maybe in the industrial era where competition wasn't as fierce, maybe that worked. But today, it has been disproven, not just me. Google did a heavy research project that was launched back in the early 2020s, if we're allowed to say that, now that we're halfway through the 2020s. So Google launched it, called the messy middle. Arch Rival reinforced it with their own research. McKinsey reinforced it with BCG with their own research. McKinsey as well, I think. Everyone has basically, that is a data and a really smart entity out there, has debunked that humans don't operate like this. And yet, still hear the funnel almost in every single marketing conversation.
Why doesn't it die?
Why doesn't it not die?
Is there something to replace it that people can at least say, all right, well, I can give it up because I have another thing to grasp? Or what is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Google's messy middle diagram does a very good job of a replacement that's viable. It's just not what was taught in school. And when I think if you bring a new framework, you have your neck out. And the question becomes, well, who else is doing it? Survivorship bias, confirmation bias. If no one else is really doing it, then you feel even more risk. And if you're in an encamped organization where there's a lot of volatility or at least fear, who wants to take that risk, man? Who wants to? And really, I don't think anyone does, especially in our industry, the restaurant industry. There's a lot of volatility. Blanket statement, I know there's exceptions to this rule. I don't think leaders in our industry have done a very good job of creating a safe place to fail. And what I mean by that is, failure is inevitable in some way, shape, or form. If you learn from it, it's not failure, it's actually growth. And that's what smart brands do. But in our industry, it's failure's a death sentence. You're done.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into, private equity who, if the spreadsheet shifts downward, they don't like it, you're done.
Is that hardest on marketing, the CMO role? Or is there another role that has it worse?
Yeah, I think CEO first, probably. CMO right after it. I think CMO is seen, unfortunately, as more expendable than they really should be.
Yeah.
And I think the theory is probably, well, can't operate without tech, can't operate without operations. You can operate without marketing. Give it to marketing. We'll get a replacement. How hard is it, quote unquote?
One of the things that stood out to me as I was reading is that you're not blaming people. You're blaming systems. And why is that distinction so important?
Yeah, I think people who are making these mistakes, it is a symptom, not the source. I think the source are the systems themselves and the thinking itself. So why do bad marketing programs happen? Well, they happen because a mix of these four quiet killers in some way, shape, or form, starting with the funnel. Why does that exist? Well, because the funnel was taught in college. It's been used when you were a junior marketer, a mid-scale marketer on your way up. It's always been this way we've done it. That's how everyone does it. Survivorship bias, confirmation bias. And it's easy. So convenience trap. It's really hard to shift. It's dangerous. It's risky. So I think that's why it persists. Survivorship and confirmation biases are just so easy to get into, and we all do it. It's not leadership. It's humans. Let's take it outside of industry and professionalism. Let's talk about working out, getting fit.
Mm-hmm.
If you go work out with your buddy who's super fit right now and you're not, and then afterwards he eats 3 cheeseburgers, so you're like, well, he does it.
Right.
Not really going to be good for you. He's doing it because his metabolism's already ramped up. He's putting in the work. She's putting in the work, whatever. So eating 3 cheeseburgers actually isn't that big of a deal because it's going to get burned. Whereas you're just starting. That stuff's going to go. That's actually a personal, that happened to me. I was working out with a friend of mine. He was super built and we would go eat. And he's like, you need to eat more. And so I did. And I'm like, I'm gaining weight, dude, not muscle.
Beefcake.
What's that?
Beefcake. There's a South Park reference.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, I think, the survivorship bias of it all and the confirmation bias of this has always been the way it's been done. The biggest brands, the most successful brands do it this way. There's no quote unquote reason to change. But when you look at data, the data show us that there actually is a big reason to change. And that is you're wasting a ton of money trying to get people from awareness to interest to purchase, whatever your funnel looks like. And you're burning a lot of money as a result.
Joseph, it seems like people are more aware and generally agree that things are changing faster than they used to, that rate of change is amping up. Wouldn't that imply also that clinging to the way things used to work is increasingly illogical.
Yeah, you're 100% correct.
Do people
But
make that connection, or is that somehow lost?
yeah, it's interesting. I think when you get into human dynamics, there is the division between logic and emotion is huge, and we are not logical beings. We are so emotional, all of us. Even the most logical are emotional. And when a thought process solidifies, even a belief, even a support, talk politically, talk sports. I mean, I'm a big Raiders fan. You can tell
I'm
me
sorry.
all the bad things about the Raiders right now. Do you think I'm going to change my team?
No.
No, I am not. So it's sort of like that. It's kind of a bummer. So logically, the Raiders suck. They haven't been good for over 20 years. They have been a source of disappointment. They have ruined so many of my Sundays.
Sorry, Raider Nation.
They're crying with me right now. They know. But I'm not going to change because it's what I know. It's what I believe in. And I'm super loyal, by the way. So anytime my wife is like, questioning loyalty for any reason, I'm like, I'm a Raiders fan.
And you got a top draft pick, so you got something to look forward to.
We did it. One more to bust. But yeah, I think that's the problem is I was taught the funnel. I've operated against the funnel for my decade plus of career. Boards expect the funnel. My leadership expects the funnel. If I come with logic, who cares? What about the funnel? And I think that's really the shame of it. And you can take it outside of the funnel to other operating systems. The Chipotle way. If I had $1 for every time a new restaurateur or restaurant group that wanted to start a new concept, we're going to be the Chipotle of.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Does it mean you have a line where you just build a thing? Because that's not really innovative and that's not really Chipotle's magic. But unfortunately, the bias there is, look, Chipotle is highly successful. The way they operate must be the right way. And if you come to a leader that has that belief encamped and solidified, you're going to have a very big uphill battle. You're going to basically shatter their world, is essentially what you're attempting to do when you tell someone they're wrong.
In the book, you kind of position clarity as infrastructure, not so much messaging. And if a brand wanted to regain clarity without a massive rebrand or a tech overhaul, where would they start?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And in that it's an easy answer, but rather difficult to start to put into play.
Sure.
But I do think it starts with a daily ritual. Simple questions like, where did we succumb to quiet killers last week, yesterday? Where did confirmation bias and survivorship bias, where did that steer us maybe in the wrong direction? Where did we opt for convenience over a smarter long-term solution, whatever that may be? Starting to ask those questions honestly can help you start to tear down those killers. And I think it starts daily, but then you can go into a deeper dive, more of a 90-day ramp-up plan where you can start to really tear it apart and get better ways in there. I also think that clarity starts with creating, for lack of a better phrase, a safe space. And what I don't mean is emotionally where people get upset and they have to go cry in a corner and all that. What I do mean is in order to get ahead, risks must be taken. You want to mitigate them as much as you can, but let's not be absurd with the expectation. If we want to go back and talk about survivorship bias, let's look at McDonald's. Ray Kroc did not take he was a very risky person. Like, it's not like he went out there and like, I'm going to emulate this other burger place and I'm just going to call it McDonald's. I'm going to put a pretty logo on it and boom.
Right.
It's very different.
Yeah.
And it was a different time too. And that's usually one of the other issues with survivorship bias is you're talking about a brand that started in the 50s. The world was different. People were different. Burgers at speed was new, fresh, innovative, amazing. But the risks have to be taken. So you need to create a safe space within the organization for risks to be evaluated, mitigated, but trusted, and then if it fails, creating a situation where it's like, it didn't actually fail because we learned this. So how do you put the learning mechanisms in place so you can learn from things that didn't go off the way you thought it would? And I think when you do that, you start to get more clarity, you get better ideas. And it is comms, even though it's structural, it's also comms, making sure that you're sharing ideas. So we work with a brand right now. Again, I'm not going to say brand names, but they were actually partially the impetus behind shifting gears from rewriting Stop Blasting My Mama and going over here. Because what I saw is a markedly different group of people. I saw a tech leader in lockstep with a marketing leader and an ops leader on every single call. I saw after every one of our calls, they had their own internal call to regroup, reset, make sure everyone's clear. You know, what are our goals? Have they changed? What are we doing? Has it changed? Did we miss something in the requirements? And again, I'm talking software product, but this happens with culinary as well. What am I missing? This is going to break our line? How? Why didn't we see this? Not getting mad at the other person, but how do we adjust? Because when you are working together with clarity, then no one's ego is involved. The problem is when there's no clarity and when you have that fourth killer, which is like very encamped teams, everything is an attack.
Yeah.
Everything, because you are in danger.
It feels like everything you're talking about would fit nicely inside of Traction or EOS in a framework where you're able to have that, review or peer review on a regular basis, these things that are going on, that there'll be a way to deliver that.
Yeah. I'm not adhering to any particular framework, but there are a lot of great, like that's one of them that I think is really good. I think simplicity is the best way to start. Going back to getting in shape, just get on the treadmill. You don't gotta run. Just walk. Just start there. Just start. I think Sean Walsh says that. Just pick up the thing and start recording. Just start. And then commit to consistency. So I think if you start there before diving into a big framework, just commit to understanding the killers and learning how to identify them and get into that daily ritual, or at least a weekly ritual where you can evaluate and stay on track and try to avoid these pitfalls. And admittedly, the funnel is a much bigger killer because it's so ubiquitous. It's a paradigm that everyone has bought into for so long. But if you use those other three killers, convenience trap, bias loop, and the tech anemia / encampments, you can start to break that down and say, well, for emerging brands, the funnel's actually impossible to activate against, financially speaking. You don't have that kind of money.
Right.
So stop. So instead, let's get a little bit smarter here. How do we start to address people in the reality of how they operate daily? How can we do that? You're describing
guerrilla warfare now.
Yeah. I don't know how gorillas fight, but that is really, really like harsh. And I know that 1,000 men cannot beat one gorilla. I don't think that's true.
So, Joseph, I imagine. Oh, geez, I imagine if someone's read your book and they're trying to get their organization right, they're gonna face the connection between seeking clarity and priorities, and you can't have too many priorities, right? So, what is that connection? How does a brand's like, all right, we got to fix all these things? How do they make sure they're communicating and aligned around, this is number one, this is number 2 and 3, and so that when those hard choices come up, when you have to pick, what gets the attention?
Yeah, I think that spinning plate scenario in a lot of ways that you're describing, and God knows this industry has it. Fires, whatever, you're in the weeds, whatever phrase you want to use. I think the top priorities are probably the hottest fires. I think you can't stop addressing the priorities just because you read the book. I think continue to do things how you're doing them, while first try, as it's, unfortunately, it's the CEO it has to start there. Create a safe space and deliver clarity on what mitigated risk looks like. And then how do you debrief after something, Was it a culinary test run? Was it a new way of operating on the line? Was it a new product, software product that you're building, whatever? How do you look at that and evaluate and extract learnings? Start there, make that a priority. And that's not going to happen overnight. And then communicate it. Communicate it to your C-suite, to your director suite, and then the rest of the company little by little. That's where you start. And then from there, once people realize that they are allowed to take a risk in the right scenario, so long as they know how to measure and learn from it afterwards, then you can start to prioritize accordingly. I'm very biased. I'll tell you that right now. I think the biggest place where brands are losing and can win is with their digital experience. And I say that knowing that that might be something that people ignore because there are other problems. But quite honestly, there are so many investments going into the digital experience and smoothing it out and making it better. And the reason why digital experiences are so clunky is because of the pandemic, because people got caught being wrong about everyone else's desire to get that hamburger delivered. And so what they did is they went out, they're like, great, Olo, awesome. And you have an out-of-the-box solution. You'll throw our logo on it, make it kind of nice. Great, let's do it. Boom, tacked on. Oh, I need locations listings. Great. Sochi, chat meter, whatever. Okay, great. Let's just tack it on. It's easy. It's simple. Convenience. Because I got a lot going on. So let's just get it done. And you talk to each other. Fantastic. Now what we have is we have chadhorn.com. All these beautiful pictures. Oh, great burger. I want that. I click on it. Now I'm at locations.chadhorn.com looking for a location. I find one. I say order. Now I'm at orders.chat. Nobody wants to operate this, and everyone wonders why DoorDash is eating their lunch.
Yeah.
And because it's simple. It's easy.
So let's say you have a really good friend. They're at a brand. They're not the CEO. That would imply more power to fix things. But they want to know, they have some influence. And so they want to know, Joseph, tell me the truth. What do I look for to know if I can enact some of the principles in your book versus recognizing I'm already working for a company that's dead and they just haven't acknowledged yet?
Ooh, dead.
Gosh, there are some of those too. It's really sad. So I think the first question is, do you know what your counterparts are working on and how it's going to affect you? That's the biggest question. That's right.
Oh.
If I'm in ops, what is marketing working on right now? Because marketing might be working on a campaign that's going to promise something that you have to deliver on and you didn't take the time to really understand it. Or be in a meeting that you maybe shirked as not worth your time because it's just marketing. But if marketing is out there promising pizza delivery in under 30 minutes.
Yeah. You better be ready.
You better have a solution for delivering that pizza in under 30 minutes. Or at least be in the room and be like, hi, that's actually going to create a legal liability, which we all know happened with Domino's back in the day. And then not just poo-pooing everything, but coming with ideas. So 1, do you know what your counterparts are doing? 2, do you have the requirements, the watch outs, or the ideas to make it better? And then how do you break down if there's a wall? How do you break down that wall, make it safe to collaborate, making them understand that you're not going to throw them under the bus by being collaborative, because that's the other side of it.
Right.
Nor are you going to take away their glory for an idea that they had. And when you start to build that true collaboration internally, it feels safer. It feels less of a risk for me to talk to Michael, my frontline sales guy, and Chad, my operations guy, about this idea I have, because I know they're not going to go to the boss, claim it as their idea, nor are they going to try to undercut it and clip it because it makes more work for them.
That's all about trust.
It's all about trust. And trust is with clarity, so I'm clear with my intentions. This idea I have for this marketing campaign is not to make your life harder. It's to get more sales, increase our AOVs, decrease negative customer sentiment, whatever. And then simply ask the question, like, how do we make it more viable and even better? And like invite them into the process.
Well, let's get a little reflective. Has writing Quiet Killers, I don't know how to say it changed how you personally evaluate brands and decisions? Because you spent or decisions. I mean, you spent your time in there. That has to put yourself in so many different shoes and perspectives.
Yeah, I will say there's a lot of catharsis with writing from frustration. So it made me feel better.
Yeah.
But yes, it did help with reflecting, looking at our current clients, past clients. How do we speak to them better? Also understanding their realities right now. Like one of the biggest realities we have right now is a lot of times the digital experience falls under the marketing budget. So marketers have the question of, I agree, this will probably increase sales, but you're asking me to pool a lot of money out of my working media budget, which means less traffic, less results. That don't look good on me. For X amount of time. How do I get there? So I think we're a lot more empathetic to that. I'll be honest, I don't have a solution for it yet. We're trying to figure that out. It's going back to sharing, like, look, tech and ops should have some money in this game. There's also CapEx. We don't have to go down there, but that's a big problem. And when you realize that they are under that pressure because of encampments, because of the way the company's structured, you can start to ideate together on how to get over that hump or how to get there better.
So Joseph,
we got room for a couple more.
This might be my last one, but one of the things that I've been thinking about more in our industry because of, like, you know, Minnesota, the fraud there, the Massachusetts, my state, it's the same thing. Like, okay, if that's the part we know about, what do we not know about? So I'm curious for you in the restaurant industry. How do you think about, we see we finally see a thing, a hint of a problem. How do you then say, well, that probably means there's a lot of stuff under the surface we don't know about? Like, how do you go from identified issue to what is this really?
Yeah, I mean, you can start to identify it outside looking in, but there's not much you can do when you're outside looking in. You can start to see these hallmarks play out where they're opting for safe things over anything else. So, hey, I realize that this Nashville hot pickle sandwich would probably sell, but I just don't want to bring it to ops. They're going to get mad at me. You know, hey, I realize that this new promotion will really move, but it's not creative enough. I don't think marketing is going to like it. You know, things like that where they talk themselves, negotiate themselves out of good ideas, or at least ideas that are worth discussing more. Under the surface, when you start to see the pattern, you can actually probably start to understand where it's coming from. And let's be honest, when you have a good relationship with client partners, you probably are getting sidebar conversations that really open the door to what's happening, especially if they are good people that are getting pummeled by leadership or, you know, private equity or other influences, or they're hamstrung because the budgets just aren't being granted. They'll usually tell you, and then that's when you can ID together, collaborate, and figure out better paths.
I'm debating between questions I'll ask this last part here, but I guess I guess if you had your choice, after somebody read Quiet Killers, what would you see? What would you rather see? You know, is it better marketing, fewer meetings? Is it simpler systems? What would you love to see as that output or outcome?
Yeah, I would love to see healthier relationships inside the organization, honestly, because from there, you'll see benefits in ops, benefits in culinary, benefits in marketing. Like it will raise all those ships. Which, you know, departments are departments for a reason. They are different.
Yeah.
But those ships have to sail together. And that I think would be the best. And when I talk to this particular client, and there's others too, this one's just the latest, you can feel the health of the organization. You can feel the interpersonal health. You can feel that no one's really afraid to make an open comment, because they're not making it as a statement of belief. They're making it as a posited, what if we did this? What's that look like? And when they start to toss that up, people aren't smacking it down. They're like, interesting, but if we did it this way, you know, and then you start to get the solutions mode from people.
You're going yes and
for sure. Yeah. Or maybe, but I don't know. But definitely yes and is a good one. And you start to get that true collaboration that's not forced, but it's encouraging and it's positive. And you're always going to have a stressful day. You're always going to have a stressful week. There's always going to be a fire, but that fire is a hell of a lot easier to tackle when you're working together and you realize that your colleagues are in it with you and not against you. So I think that would be the best one. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'll get much insight into that, so one can hope.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to get it from my clients as well. I'm hoping they start to see more and more of that. And future clients, I wish that for everyone. I see a lot of stress out there, and I'm sure you guys do too at the trade shows. There's a lot of frustration, a lot of stress, a lot of worry. That goes away, or at least gets toned down, when you have a team, a real team, and not just the metaphoric one that the CEOs love to talk about.
And the words on the wall when everybody's actually flailing and drowning and they don't realize it, right?
That's right. Or stepping on each other.
Yeah.
You know.
For leaders who are listening and suspect something's wrong, right? What's the question they should be asking themselves right now?
Am I falling victim to any of these?
Yeah.
So the repeat is this. It's the marketing funnel. Are we adhering to a framework and a journey that isn't real? The bias loop. Are we allowing survivorship bias and then confirmation bias walk us into traps, walk us into bad solutions, bad ideas, bad decisions? The convenience trap. Are we selecting things because it's easiest? Not best, but easiest. And the third one, are we encamped? You know, are my people or are my colleagues, do they feel open to not just talk, but ideate with me, collaborate, and solution together? And if you have the negative on any of those, you need to take a step back and start planning on how to fix. Again, get on the treadmill. You don't have to fix it all at once. Just start chipping away. And I think the first one is eliminate the encampment.
Yeah.
And then I started running.
Just keep running, bro. No, don't do that. You can't just start running.
No.
Shin splints.
No.
If everyone's had them, you know.
Or
don't just start
had that
running.
horrible personal trainer after you haven't been in the gym for a while and they've worked you to muscle failure and you just never come back.
I want his name to be Klaus for no reason, except I feel like a Klaus would be a very unforgiving trainer.
Yeah, he is a harsh taskmaster. All right, so last part of this here, I want to do a little rapid fire with you. I think I know the answers, but you tell me. Complexity or clarity?
Clarity.
Speed or alignment?
Alignment.
Best practices or better thinking?
Better thinking.
Growth or trust? Trust. Boom.
Yeah, 100%. Mainly because all those answers lead to the other side.
Yeah. Well, Joseph, it is always a pleasure, especially knowing that you're one of the QSR Avengers as well, and I think we're going to get tats next year. I'm
into it. I got the right place in Atlanta.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we're on your body. I'm like, I don't want to know.
Yeah. Roy Orbison.
Oh Lord, now I know exactly what you're talking about. Deep cuts with Joseph Szala next on the ChatGTM podcast, dude. Every time, I mean, I think I've met you twice in person. It feels like I've known my whole life. You just have a great vibe about you, who you are, the energy you project, who you are as a person, as a businessman. I mean, I'm all about it, man. You're absolutely awesome, and really for anybody that hasn't heard about this book, and I'm not sure when this will drop for them, probably next week. But when this comes out, give it a read. It was a really interesting read for me, and it's hard to drag me to a physical book these days. Actually, I have so many friends that say, "Hey, read my book." I'm like, and I am a terrible friend. Like my best friend from high school wrote 2 novels, and I still have not read them. And so one of my resolutions this year was to say yes to things. And when you asked me to read the book, I was like, you know what, damn right, I'm going to read it and jump in. I'm glad I did. So I encourage people to read it. So where's it going to be? Where can people pick it up? Once it's out?
Yeah, it should be out later next month, February. That's my hope, at least. Worst case, early March. But I do suggest people going to quietkillersbook.com and subscribing to get notified when it's published. Okay. It will be available on Amazon and most major retailers online, as well as direct. When I sell direct, I usually sell an autographed copy. If you really care about that, I hate doing it, but I'll do it. Yeah. I
want fully inscribed, all kinds of stuff, gold letters, the whole thing. I'm ready.
I'll add some extra pages so I can get real in depth with yours.
Yeah.
And also, after this, I'll get your information and I'm going to add to your art wall, both of you.
Love it. Love it. Well, everybody, this has been Joseph Szala, partner of 3 Owl, author of many, many books. And this one is Quiet Killers, and it's soon coming to bookshelves near you. And Joseph, I'm glad you're out there in the world doing what you do. And what we always close with, Chad, is something that if you may call it virtue signaling. I don't care.
I
Random
love it.
acts of kindness, sprinkle that stuff everywhere. No, there's not enough of it in the world. It just takes a second to change somebody's day. That's what hospitality is all about. Is just that one moment to show some kindness, to bring people along for the journey and make them feel good. So for now, guys, we're going to sign off. This is ChatGTM podcast episode, or season 2, episode 2 with Joseph Szala. Thank you, everybody. And we're out.
Awesome. That was great, guys. Thank you.